there, and we welcome you all in to another edition of the Sacramento State Hornet Football Stingers Up podcast, and man, are things good in Hornet land right now. So much fun to be a part of, an absolute privilege to be able to call the games each and every week and to watch this team shine. Coming off another victory, 49-21 last week when the Hornets went to Cal Poly and won the third and final game of that three-game road gauntlet that they had to play before coming back home this week to take on Northern Colorado. Plenty for us to get into today. Certainly we'll look back at the win over Cal Poly. We'll preview Saturday's game against Northern Colorado. And special guest, one of the great receivers in Hornet history, currently playing in his final season. Hope there's football after this for Pierre Williams. But we sit down with the fourth all-time leader in catches, in yards, in touchdowns, coming off a good game at Cal Poly. Pierre Williams will join us today on the podcast as well. So plenty for us to get to, but let's just dive right in and look back at last week at Cal Poly and recap the victory over the Mustangs. So let's start it out at the beginning, a little bit odd, I would say, for Sacramento State, where defensively they were on the field first. Looked like they were going to get off the field pretty quickly. Cal Poly, as we expected, as Coach Troy Taylor expected, was basically going to try any and everything, because Bo Baldwin is not a coach that coaches fear-based. He is going to try different things. He knew they needed touchdowns to beat Sacramento State. They were going for a lot of fourth downs, and they set the tone early when they went for a fake punt. And a fake punt, it was executed beautifully, and it tricked the Hornets, kept the drive alive, but ultimately the Hornets would get the ball. And after a 3-and-out, which was also surprising, then the Hornets went to work. So a low-scoring first quarter, but the Hornets would finally dent the scoreboard. What they've been doing a lot lately is getting ahead and staying ahead. This game would be no different. And the first quarter's only score came on the ground in the first rushing touchdown this season for Marcus Fulcher.
First and goal from the 2 after the penalty. A toss to Fulcher, trying to find a lane, pushes the pile, gets across the goal line. Touchdown, Sacramento State. They follow the line on the right side, power their way in, a 2-yard run, touchdown Hornets.
So Fulcher, who's been so good in a lot of different areas, gets in on the ground. Hornets led 7-0 after 1. We take it to the second quarter. So now here's where also the Hornets have been good this season. It's getting a lead and then extending it and getting at arm's length and extending that distance between the opponent. And they would do that in the second quarter after another drive and a short touchdown run by Cameron Scadaboo.
Cameron Scadaboo in the backfield with Asher O'Hara on first and goal from the 4. Snap comes in. The give to Scadaboo. He spins. He gets in. He doesn't even go down at all. Bounces to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Hornets.
2 of the defenders met him square on, shoulder pad to shoulder pad, and all he did is have a dead heat against 2 guys. They were both leaning. They were all low like you're supposed to be fundamentally, and then he just bounced off them and continued on. That was impressive.
So Scadaboo's night was just getting started. He would add a little bit more in the second quarter, and this one is just Cameron Scadaboo doing Cameron Scadaboo things.
Right, yeah.
First and 10 for the Hornets at the 16. Dunaway looking left, now back to the right, throws a release valve to Scadaboo. He's going to lose one. He does. Scadaboo to the 10, jump cut to the 5. Scadaboo is in. And Scadaboo lowers the boom at the goal line, seeking punishment, drops the defender. Touchdown, Hornets.
Most of Scadaboo's greatest moments happen after he scores the touchdown. He just buried a guy. How about the first guy that came up to hit him when he got there? He goes, "You're one guy trying to tackle me."
Good
He
luck.
just threw him out of the way with his left arm.
So he showed a move, speed, and power all in one.
You're right.
Unbelievable.
A great cutback move to the left and a stiff arm, or whatever you want to call that thing that he did with the arm to get out of my face.
He's unbelievable.
I know.
He is unbelievable. 16-yard touchdown catch. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Steve, he's seeking contact. What is wrong with him?
There may be other players who could have scored on that play, but none with that kind of exclamation point.
So 21-0 Sacramento State after the first half of play. And it felt like there could have been a little bit more out there. The Hornets were sloppy a lot of the night. A couple turnovers, a lot of penalties. So that's what's encouraging about this team. The way they're winning, how effective they've been, and you still get the feeling they have more to offer. And you're going to hear more of that coming up in our interview with Pierre Williams, that he agrees. And that's scary. I mean, I think this team now in the polls has moved up to 4 in one of the polls, 5 in the other. They're a really good football team, and I don't know that we've seen their best football just yet. And to me, That's very, very exciting. So let's get you to the second half. And this is also another sign of good teams. The Hornets deferred and did not start with the football. So that means they get the ball first in the second half. And when you're already up 21-0, what you want to do is not relinquish, not give up. A 21-0 game is not over. But when you get it to 28-0 and you have one of the best offenses in the country, you don't feel like you're going to stop at 21 or 28 or even 35. It's going to make it almost impossible for the opposing team. And that's what ended up happening last Saturday at Cal Poly. So the Hornets open up the second half with the ball, go right down the field, and again on the ground, Asher O'Hara.
Well, the Hornets are going to work from the shotgun. 4th and goal from the half-yard line. Snap will come into O'Hara. He'll keep it. He will go airborne, sails into the air, lands on an offensive player, doesn't even go down, and gets into the end zone for a touchdown. Sacramento State extends the lead to 27-0.
Yeah, Sacramento O'Hara Airlines.
Well, Asher gets his 7th rushing touchdown of the year, a 9-play, 75-yard drive, his 32nd of his career overall, 16th at Sacramento State, closing in on Kevin Thompson's quarterback touchdown running record of 21. And O'Hara's been here a season, not even and a half yet.
So we mentioned earlier one of the signs of a good team is scoring right out of the half, right, which the Hornets did. But how about scoring when you're scored upon? So the Hornets finally give up points after pitching a shutout in the first half. The defense was doing their job, but they finally gave up some points, so it's now 28-7. But the ensuing drive, the Hornets responded, and that's beautiful, it was beautifully done. And Asher O'Hara, who's been a great rushing quarterback this year, is finding the end zone has been his knack. Our last highlight was him getting in the end zone on the ground. Well, here they flip the script, and Asher O'Hara throws one of his best passes as a Hornet and finds Jared Gibson.
So there was 5:45 left in the quarter when this drive started. Back to throw is O'Hara. He's going to look deep. Downfield, Gibson, separation caught. 5, touchdown! What a throw from Asher O'Hara to Jared Gibson. Touchdown, Sacramento State from 40 yards out.
The long ball, perfect strike. Danny, you were right there. You couldn't be happier. It came right at you. Big ball.
It was a great ball. It was a great ball by Asher. You know, everyone thinks he's going to run. It was a little wheel up and then out, and he had the defender beat by 3 yards, guys. And it was just a beautiful throw, great catch. You got to love it.
So 35-7 Sacramento State after 3 quarters. Basically now you get to the fourth quarter trying to play things out, but we actually had a lot of scoring going on. Cal Poly would score to make it 35-14, but yet again the Hornets respond quickly. You were thinking here, oh, maybe they're going to take one of those 10-minute drives. Nope, they changed it up. They went through the air, did 9 plays in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and responds quickly as Jake Dunaway finds Pierre Williams.
Dunaway looks over the middle, throws a deep ball down the sideline for Pierre Williams. Pierre is bodied. He catches it and goes into the end zone. How did he do that?
He was interfered with brutally and still caught the ball. And who was right next to the catch? His best friend, Danny Sullivan.
Guys, that was it was underthrown. Pierre had to come back to the ball, turned around, but the defender did not see it, and he was able to snag it off a kind of part of his back and just walk backwards right into the end zone, guys.
Danny,
you got to love that.
How fun is it to be down there where you are when that happens?
I love my job.
You've caught 2. You've been right there for 2 long touchdown passes.
That was gorgeous. 27-yard touchdown.
You're buying dinner, Danny.
Low snap. Extra point is placed down or kicked up and good. So Sacramento State extends to 42-14. Quick response by the Hornets. There's still 10:30 to go in the game. Sacramento State up big, 42-14.
42-14 here now. Cal Poly would score again to make it 42-21, and then would get creative and try an onside kick. Hornets read that and would respond even quicker. A 1-play, 35-yard score and more magic from Cameron Scadaboo.
Miller goes in motion. Handoff goes to Scadaboo. Scadaboo up the middle. Scadaboo gets to the second level. Runs through 1, 20, 15. He's going to stiff arm and dives for the pylon. He's in! Touchdown, Cameron Scadaboo.
Oh, come on.
There was a late ruling. Scadaboo is amazing.
Yeah. When there was one defender left, I'm like, I feel sorry for that guy. I really do. Scadaboo stiff arms him, pushes him down the field, and then dives in the end zone.
A 35-yard touchdown run by Cameron Scadaboo. He has his second rushing touchdown of the game. He has a 16-yard touchdown reception. The Hornets have 48 on the board. And now awaiting an extra point. What a run.
So 49-21. Cal Poly was actually threatening for even more. Dylan George would get a pickoff at the goal line, and from our vantage point, it sure looked like he was going to go 100 yards for a score. He ran out of gas, but that's okay. He forced the turnover, took it all the way down to the 20-yard line, and then at that point, basically, the Hornets just had to take a knee and isolate another impressive win.
The snap comes into Caden Bennett. He takes the knee, and both sides are going to come out to the center of the field and acknowledge a good battle, but a battle that is won by Sacramento State. The Hornets, for the first time in 40 years and only the second time in school history, they start the season 4-0. They have advanced their regular season win streak to 12 consecutive wins. Troy Taylor now in 2 seasons as Sacramento State's head coach is an impressive 17-1 versus Big Sky teams and 9-0 on the road. The final score, Sacramento State 49, Cal Poly 21. Your 5th-ranked Hornets will be home next week to take on Northern Colorado. And, Steve, this run continues, and it is mighty impressive.
How would you describe tonight's game? A great victory for the Hornets tonight.
Yeah, the guys did a great job. Came out fast, and Cal Poly's team that just kept swinging and made it hard on us. So proud of our guys, though. Got through all 3 phases, played pretty well. Thought our defense did a good job there till the end, keeping it out of the end zone, and we did a great job maintaining the football on offense.
Got to be proud of this team. They've done well. Going to get started in the Big Sky Conference. Good 1-0 start, and first time 4-0 in 40 years before you and I were even born.
Well, 40 years. I was definitely born, but maybe not you, Danny.
Me too.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good to be 4-0, and we'll enjoy this on the way back on the bus. It's special to be undefeated at this point, in the season, and then we get home and work on the next opponent, which is Northern Colorado, who's an improved team, and we get to play a home game, Danny,
yes,
which is pretty cool.
Do you know what home looks like?
And we're excited to get back home. Hopefully we have a huge crowd and they're really loud and support this incredible team we have.
Congratulations on the victory, Coach.
Thanks, Danny. Stingers up.
So 4-0 for the second time in school history, but only other time was 40 years ago. They continue to win on the road. They continue to win in conference. They continue to score a ton of points. Defense was really good for the first half. And, again, I feel like we're almost now nitpicking on the Hornets, but that's what you have to do. You have to find areas to improve, and there always are areas to improve. I certainly mentioned the 12 penalties, a couple of turnovers, a couple of empty drives, maybe a few broken plays defensively. But all in all, when you are 4-0, 1-0 now in the Big Sky, and on a great regular season run, this team is in a groove, and they just need to keep it going and keep seeking better play. And that's what's exciting to me about this team is there's more out there. Now, as far as the week went, based on the results in the win, another Defensive Player of the Week honor goes to Armand Bailey. Second straight week for him. He's the 3rd player in Hornet history, defensive player, to win the award twice in a season. He joins Anthony Daisley, who did it in 99, and Cyrus Mulatalo, who did it back in 2006. For Bailey, 9 tackles, 6 of them were solo. He had a sack. That was a 10-yard loss, a pass breakup, and a quarterback hurry. So a good week, a great week for the Sacramento State Hornet football program. So let's hear from one of those guys who was always good, incredibly consistent, has had so many great highlights over his Hornet career. I had a chance this week to catch up with one of the Hornet all-time greats, Pierre Williams. We mentioned last week, 5 catches, 79 yards, and an amazing catch in the end zone. He's 4th all-time in catches, in touchdowns, and in yards, and it truly was a pleasure to catch up with one of the Hornet greats, Pierre Williams. All right, so I get a chance to catch up with multiple-time All-Big Sky selection, Pierre Williams, wide receiver for the Hornets. Pierre, before we get into football, let's get a little background. How did you end up as a Hornet?
So it started off, I originally had offers from Nevada and Fresno State, and then I ended up getting injured. I broke my ankle my senior year, and then I lost those offers, and then the coaches, the previous staff here at Sac State ended up finding out, so then I was able to get an offer at the last minute, and I had no other choice, so yeah. I committed here, but, it turned out to be a good thing.
Who was, I'm thinking back to then, which coach kind of landed you from the previous staff? Which was your recruiting coach?
Jason Pollock, the receivers coach, yeah. And then him and Henry Fernandez came down, like, immediately once they found out. They came to my school, and then, like, a few days after, they came to my house with Coach Sears, and then they offered me, they told me to come up for a visit, and then they offered me that weekend, and I ended up committing, so.
I don't know this for certain, but as your Hornet career went on, there might have been chances to leave. So what was it about Sacramento State that kept you here?
I don't like moving too much, but no, it was a good fit and a good program, and to also have my brother coming. So I always wanted to play with him again because we usually played together on the same teams when we were younger, and I wanted to get that chance again. And he was getting recruited by Sac State, so I felt, why not? And I have family here and a lot of friends here, and so yeah.
When did you know he was coming? I mean, you're a couple years ahead of him.
Yeah, it would have been my junior year, my redshirt sophomore year in football, 2019 season. I found out they were recruiting him, and then they ended up offering him during that season, and then he committed. So it was set for a while.
As far as if I remember this right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I thought there was some story, maybe it was your freshman year, where you made a catch like in practice. Oh, I think I'm landing this right. You fill in the rest if I'm going down this. It's just kind of built over time.
Yeah, it was during our bye week, so they were doing like the freshman or the scout team. They were like, we were kind of having like a small scrimmage, and I had drank a lot of water, and I know now because I always drink a lot of water on sidelines. So, but I drank a lot of water and I started running, and then I felt it starting to come up, and then there was right before one play I started to throw the water all back up. And then I ended up, the quarterback still threw me the ball. I didn't run a route or nothing. I just turned, and then he threw me the ball, and I caught it one-handed over my head while throwing up. And then I just threw the ball back to him, and then I walked off the field. But, yeah, that's something the people that have been here or that are able to remember that, they always bring that up.
So I'm thinking about your personal career here and what's after. Obviously, I think maybe more football, but what's the plan after? Hopefully, this season ends many, many weeks from now.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I talk a lot with my parents, and obviously, I've done this for a long time, and it's a shame to just stop afterwards. So I would love to continue to play football. I've put all this work in my whole life and gone through so many different things. So hopefully, I get an opportunity to play somewhere. I don't really care where, but just continuing to play and hopefully make a little money off of it is a good thing.
Have you heard feedback along that realm? Like, does it feel like a legitimate chance for you?
Yeah, from the information I heard, I feel like I have a good shot at playing somewhere. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly where, but I do feel like I have a good chance, especially with my work ethic and my skills that I have. I feel like someone could notice that and potentially take me in.
So tell us about your journey here as the football player. I mean, you've kind of seen everything. I mean, the COVID year was weird. You've had individual success. Now it's individual success with team success. What's this run been like?
It's honestly been great. It was kind of shaky my first year playing, which was 2018, because we went 2-8, and I wasn't sure exactly like what would happen the rest of my years here. But then the new coaches came in and everything turned around so quickly, and it's kind of been like a fairy tale kind of, because you're just riding and just nonstop winning. I just want to keep that going. Like, I want to go further. Like, we've reached it was our first round of playoffs, but the second round of playoffs. But I want to get past that, especially with this being my last year. I want to go all the way. Like, I don't want to settle for anything less.
You've lived it. How I marvel at how it's turned so amazingly well for you guys. How dominant it's been. Not to take away from talent, but this coaching staff too. Like, how has this worked in your mind? Like, so amazingly well.
I just feel like our coaches are very knowledgeable. Like, most of our coaches have all played or coached at the FBS level at a high level, so they brought their knowledge down to us, and I feel like they've definitely helped nurture and groom us to become the players and the team that we've become, because they obviously have the winning experience and all that comes with it. What
for you has been your favorite highlight so far, and whether it's you individually, team-wise? I remember talking to you a few years ago after the NAU comeback, which was a miracle, but what stands out to you? What are some of the memories you're going to take with you?
Probably the championships, and just like because we have a lot of first. Mm-hmm. So like first team to win the championship, first team to win 9 games, first team to go to the playoffs. So a lot of those things, it's like you don't realize it in those moments, but like I sit back sometimes and I think like, wow, like we'll forever be that team that was the first Sacramento State team to whatever they want to throw out there. So that's just something that I always like. It's kind of cool, and that's where like this year I want to be the first team to win a playoff game, the first team to win a national championship. I just want to keep making first for us.
Yeah. You guys weren't the first to do it, but beating Colorado State a couple weeks ago, and the way you did it, it looked to me like just another Saturday for you guys, but that was pretty amazing how you handled them.
Yeah, that was another thing. The FBS, I always wanted the FBS win. We've been close many times, even dating back to 2018, we were close. And it was just, we were always just right there. Didn't have enough. And then this year is just, I don't know, I kind of treated it like it was just another game, and then we just went in there and handled our business. I was very proud of the way we played.
You guys got a nice regular season win streak going here. I know you talked about goals of the playoffs. But the fact that you guys make it look pretty easy, haven't trailed, very much, barely seconds, I think, in this win streak. Even last weekend, watching you guys at Cal Poly, it was dominant, but I also feel like there's still more. Do you feel like that's out there too?
Oh, I definitely feel like our ceiling is so much higher than what we played. Like we make some mistakes, or there's certain things where we're not doing our best, certain plays where we're not executing the way we should. So I definitely feel like even though all these wins we've won like handily, I feel like we could have destroyed some of these teams a lot more than we have, which is it's a good thing too, because I feel like we can still get a lot better, and especially we need to be getting better throughout the year. So I'm happy that there's still room that I feel like we can grow. I don't feel like we've tapped or even come close to the ceiling yet. So,
how is it? You play with Kevin Thompson, and you get quarterback every week. Now you're getting 2, and it might change per play, per series. It's no longer weird, probably, but how was that transition with both Jake and Asher? I don't really know. Like, I notice it, but I don't. Like, it's just kind of like become normal to me, like you said. But I mean, they're both 2 great quarterbacks, and I don't care who's throwing me the ball. They're both great. They both have their certain skills, and they both do well. And sometimes they flip. You see Jake running, and then you'll see Ash throw the ball, or you do something. So it's great to have 2, because then it throws the defense on. They can't really get acclimated to one or the other. They have to have 2 game plans essentially for both of them. So it's nice to have 2 different quarterbacks to throw the defense off a little bit. And the fact that you have so many other weapons. I mean, you've set so many school marks, and you're moving up the ladder and all these things, but it might be a week where you get a couple catches and still have a huge impact with your blocking and catching, and Martin goes off, or Gibson, or Scadaboo, or someone else. It feels like this team's as good of an offense as I've seen in a long time. How do you feel about your offense?
No, we have that's a great point. We have weapons everywhere, and that's the thing. Like, I may not have had the biggest year that I've had so far, but everyone can go off at any moment, and that's such a danger to other teams, because you don't know who it is, who it will be. Like you said, we have Jared, we have also Chris Miller, we have Marshall, Marcus Fulcher, Cameron Scadaboo, all of those guys that can, and there's more, all of those guys that can just go off at any moment, and it's all people you have to look out for. It's not like you can just focus on one person and, okay, we're going to game plan and try to shut this guy down, because there's so many of us to try to stop, and it's like, you can't do that.
Yeah. And I've really been impressed by you and the rest of your teammates' downfield blocking. Is that something you guys have really worked on?
Yeah, of course. I just view it as looking out for each other, because I would want someone to block for me if I have the ball, so I just try to do the same for them, and it's and ever since I was young, I figured if I'm not getting the ball, I might as well do something. I'll take whatever. If I'm angry, if I'm whatever, I'll take it all out on the defender. So, and I don't know. I enjoy blocking. I enjoy just physically overpowering someone or driving them back. So, yeah, I take pride in my blocking, and not too many receivers block at a high level, and that's one thing that I feel like to be a complete receiver, you need to be able to block, catch, run routes, do something with the ball afterwards. So I try to work on all my areas in the game.
How about as far as being a receiver, what do you take the most joy in as far as catches go? I'm thinking back to this year. There's the tip ball at Colorado State that you kind of box out and get a touchdown there. Cal Poly, an amazing touchdown grab. What thrills you the most? Catching early and running a long way? When you dream about plays, what do you think about?
I kind of dream of a couple of different. I usually kind of visualize myself doing a couple of different things, but I think my favorite is probably catching a ball and just making people miss and making people miss tackles. So that's probably something I've always enjoyed. And then definitely always going over the top of someone or trying to snag a ball off someone's head. That's a close second.
Are you going to now catch one near the goal line and seek a defender like Scadaboo does? What's wrong with him?
I didn't see the second one. I seen the one that he had against Utah Tech, but no, I don't think. If I have to run through someone, yes, I will run through someone. But I'm not gonna. initiate contact the way he does. He's just a different animal.
How about, you mentioned earlier playing with your brother. He's here on the defensive line. That's, to me, got to be a pretty cool experience.
No, it's very cool. It gives me so much energy watching him, like, because I'll be tired or whatever coming to the sideline, and then I'll get up and I'll like, oh, Xavier's in the game. So I'll go watch him, and then like I'll see him do whatever he's doing, and it just like excites me and gets me ready to go back out there, because it's like I want to try to give him the same energy that he's giving me. So I'm trying to do something when I go out on the field, and then he's giving me energy when he's on the field. So and it's just so cool to watch my little big brother. Yeah. Little brother go out there and just play football, because he's had a lot of different setbacks, whether it's physically or mentally, because of those physical setbacks, and it's like to see him finally out there after all these years and all these different things he's had go on, it's just like it makes me really happy to see.
Sounds like you guys are more cheerleaders for one another, as opposed to you're not critiquing his game or you as much, or how does that relationship go?
My father does that for both of us, so he doesn't need an extra mouth in his ear trying to tell him what to do.
Yeah. So if we flipped roles, who would do better, you as a defensive lineman or Xavier as a wide receiver?
I played defensive end when I was younger, and I was really good, but he did play tight end all throughout his high school career, and he was always a skilled guy until he got here. So he'd probably be a better receiver or tight end than I am D lineman, but I would be all right.
Yeah. So it's you two and Brandon Weldon living together. It feels like this is a reality show potential. What's the living situation like?
It's constant laughter, craziness, yelling sometimes. Just, I don't know. It's just, there's never a dull moment when it's us three. So it's been really fun living with them. And I don't know. It's just such an enjoyment.
So it's probably gone fast, and it's going, I'm sure, faster. You'd like it to slow down. I know you're enjoying all of this. What kind of goals and visions do you have then as this season progresses? You mentioned keep it chasing and getting playoff wins. Is that kind of what you think about? What motivates you?
Yeah, I mean, this could very well be my last season of football. And, like, I always keep that. And this next week could be my last season of football. So I always try to just maximize the time that I have with this game. So as many games as we can get, I'm going to try to do all I can and work as hard as I can to help this team get to that point and maximize the amount of football that we can play this year. All the hard work we put in the offseason, it's like, well, yeah, everyone's going to get 11, 12 games or how many games they have on the schedule. And it's like I want to get more than that. Like, we work hard, and we work harder than most people, I feel like. So I want to try to put all that to use and reach the top level.
I hope there's a lot more football for you after that. If there's not, what would you like to do if there's no more football after this year?
I've always wanted to be like a trainer, coach. I wanted to kind of create my own nonprofit organization and help kids in underserved areas, or whether it's like underserved or even areas like I'm from the Central Valley, we don't get too much like hype or recruitment from athletes. Like, we're starting to get a couple more, but it's like I want to bring some presence to that area. And there's another player at Cal, which I ran a camp with him this summer, and he's trying to do the same thing. So I feel like if we can get a couple guys from the Valley, we can hopefully bring some attention and bring some more college coaches down to the Valley to see the type of players we have there.
That's awesome. And then lastly, how cool is it, Pierre, to see? I mean, your name is just moving up, catches, touchdowns, yards, and it's going to be up there forever. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something like, it's crazy to think, because like when I first came, I seen the certain names, or I see the names on the boards outside here, and I'm like, wow, like that, they probably had to do so much, and like to be in that position where I'm coming up is like, it's just kind of crazy to think that my name will be in the history book somewhere for the rest of my life here. Like, if I had children, like, they'll be able to see that, or just other people who may know me, or fans that I may have created over the years, like they'll see the work that I've put in. So that's just pretty cool to think about.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, I've enjoyed calling your games. It's been fun watching you. I hope there's a lot more wins and more records ahead for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, Pierre. It was a pleasure to talk to him. He's a lot of fun, got great perspective, wants to play football after this, and I think there's football in his future. He's been a great Hornet, and I love the fact that he's thirsty for more. He wants this team to keep winning. He wants playoff wins, and I think that's all of what Hornet fans want. But I can hear the coaching staff and players. There's a long way to go. You got a game to worry about this week, and that game to worry about is Northern Colorado. And there are no guarantees in this conference. There are no guarantees in this sport. the Hornets in their history have fared very well against Northern Colorado, but that doesn't carry over into this week per se. Northern Colorado is coming off a loss to Idaho. They are currently 2-3 overall, 1-1 in league play. I would say there's a sense of improvement. Coach McCaffrey, Ed McCaffrey, of course, had NFL ties, has his son Dylan as the quarterback. And last year was year one. You could tell there's been a roster overhaul coming into year two. And one of those new names on this roster is a familiar name to Sacramento State Hornet fans, and that's Elijah Dotson. Elijah Dotson is one of the greatest running backs in Sacramento State Hornet history, left the program, and when it entered the transfer portal. And this transfer portal has, I would say, changed the game. Elijah was feeling like it wasn't best to finish his career as a Hornet. There were other running backs that were competing with him, and maybe it wasn't going like the first couple of years for Elijah Dotson, where he was the featured back, doing everything as a receiving running back and as a rushing running back, and had some great years, great games, and elected to enter the transfer portal after 4 games a year ago. And it landed him at Northern Colorado. And now we're seeing him as a return man, their primary runner. He's had some really good statistical games. And it's going to be a nice added wrinkle to this Saturday's game, because it's a player that I don't think there's a lot of animosity towards. There's friends like talking to Pierre, who we heard from earlier. He and many of his teammates are still friends with Elijah Dotson. So, I mean, this doesn't have to be a combative relationship, and it certainly doesn't seem like it is. But, of course, the Hornets want to win. They'd love to slow down Elijah Dotson because that would help them in their quest to win, and wish him nothing but the best after that. So we look at a team that has had some success but has really given up a lot of points. And I feel like if the Hornets can play a clean game, take care of the football, limit penalties, and do what they do best offensively with a sound defense and great special teams, they're going to have an excellent chance to win. But you got to do that. It's not given to you. None of these things are. And this Saturday will be a pink game, pink awareness, as far as raising awareness for breast cancer. So that's something that will be featured this Saturday. I encourage everybody to get out there. This team is so much fun. 6 o'clock, get there early, support this team. Weather's going to be fantastic. And we're watching something special. What Troy Taylor and this coaching staff and the players have done has never been done in this program. And if they are able to win on Saturday, it would be the first time in school history that this team would be 5-0. There's so many firsts that this school and this team and this group has done, and you've got to enjoy it. I know Hornet fans that have been around for any length of time can remember some lean years in there, and they weren't that far ago. They weren't that long ago. But you just keep going. You just keep pushing as a program. You look for improvement, and that's what this team has done. It's been absolutely a joy to watch. All right, let's update you before we get out of here on a few more things from the Big Sky. We, of course, talked about Sacramento State being in action against Northern Colorado this Saturday. The other games you have on the Saturday schedule, Cal Poly is at Northern Arizona. Idaho State at Montana State. Portland State will go out of league and host a game here from a small college in Lincoln, California. You've got Eastern Washington, still on the top 25, at number 7, Weber State. That should be a good game. And a couple of teams with byes, including Idaho, Montana, and UC Davis. And if we look at the standings overall, right now, currently in the conference, there's 3 teams that are undefeated. We mentioned Montana, who has the week off. Montana State, they are 2-0. And Idaho. Idaho's going to be a problem for the Hornets. They play them on homecoming. They are 2-0. The other undefeated teams, Weber State, they're 1-0. And, of course, your Sacramento State Hornets 1-0 in conference play. Overall, you still have several teams ranked in this conference. At the top is really good, with Montana being up there high, Montana State, of course, Sacramento State, and Weber State. So still some things to watch. Eastern Washington's a dangerous team. I know they had to play last Sunday due to Hurricane Ian and was forced to play Florida then. They had a tough one there. UC Davis is the week off. They dropped to 1-4. They're going to have to get hot. Their schedule has been brutal. So a couple of teams that were on everybody's radar that can still turn things around. But right now the conference looks like at the moment between Idaho, Montana State, Montana, Weber State, and Sacramento State. But long way to go. Things can turn quickly. And the Hornets know that. So they got to stay the course, keep things going in the right direction as they've been doing, and see what they can do this Saturday against Northern Colorado. We hope you enjoy the game. We hope you listen to the broadcast as well if you get a chance. And certainly we thank you for listening to the podcast. It's been a lot of fun to do, especially when this team is winning like they do each and every week. My thanks to Pierre Williams for joining us. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week for another edition of the Stingers Up Football Podcast.